Hey, what's going on? It's another version of the A game. I'm Rob Akampora. We are bringing in people who are always trying to bring their A game, and especially during the crazy times. But we're going to take our mind off the pandemic a little bit because tomorrow is the NFL draft. And I just found out that this man's actually doing his first podcast. I am honored to have him. Number 85, the touchdown maker himself from the legendary New York Giants, who in January will be celebrating the 30th anniversary of that Super Bowl win. Stephen Baker, thanks for bringing your A game, man.
Man, thank you so much, Robert. I'm very excited to be here. And 30 years ago, wow, seemed like it was yesterday.
It really does. I mean, I can literally visualize that whole game. Even, admittedly, I'm a Jets fan. I apologize for that already.
It's all good. Somebody's got to root for them.
Yeah, there you go. I'm the one. Yeah, one of 12 that are rooting for the Jets these days. Thank you so much.
It's all good.
But when you look back, I mean, I'm sure you've been asked so many questions about that game, but that one moment, and my guys have got that one still photo of you. It's got the Giants logo on there, but there you are about to catch the touchdown pass in that game. And it really changed the momentum right before halftime because it made it 12-10 at the half. If you guys kicked the field goal at 12-6, I don't know if there would have been as much momentum. I would have thought Buffalo at that point would have been sitting there going, you know what, we held them to 3 points. We're going to really take advantage in the second half.
Yeah, and, thank you for putting that up there because that was a defining moment, not only for the Giant, for my teammates, it was also for me because that's something I worked all my life for, to get into that position. And, when I give speeches to children and kids, I tell them, how are you going to react when your moment, what you worked all your life for, how are you going to react? And what I literally just told myself, I was like, man, this is it. This is what you worked all your life for. I'm about to run the best post corner route I've ever ran in my life right now. I've done this route thousands of times in one-on-one drills, in college, in high school, but right now has to be the best one, technically sound, perfect. Sure enough, I did it, and it wasn't all me though, because if the line doesn't pick up that blitz, man, it's not going to happen. And I came out the break, that ball was in the air, and I was like, it is no way I'm going to drop this ball, bro.
That may be the best pass Haas threw in that game, too.
Oh, it was right on the money, man. Because I tell people, when you run a flag route, the ball has to already be in the air when you come out the break. I should not see it leave his hand. And when I saw that ball in the air, I knew that I had him beat. All I had to do was make the catch. So it was awesome.
How crazy was it, though? You knew you had, 2 feet and a drag in, but they actually reviewed it? I was like, what?
Yeah, but you know what? I knew it wasn't a question because we had practiced that so much throughout the season with Tom Coughlin. He always taught us to stamp one foot and drag the other one, and not to be disgusting, leave a skid mark with the other one. And,
I love it.
So I knew I drug my foot and I knew I was in. And now that I look back on it, at least I got to see it 3 more times in slow motion.
Forever to be remembered on YouTube, by the way.
Exactly. Yep.
The touchdown maker, obviously still one of the best nicknames in the history of the NFL, but you earned that nickname because I look at the stats, your first 3 seasons. 1 out of every 6 catches you made in your first 3 seasons was a touchdown. So you definitely had the reputation of being that guy, the touchdown maker. But where did it come from? I'm sure you've answered the question a million times, but where did the nickname come from?
And I don't mind it. Thank you. I can't believe people still remember that nickname. And as you well know, I didn't score a lot of touchdowns with the Giants, but I scored enough. No. But actually, the nickname came from junior college. I went to West LA Junior College, and I scored 15 the first year. And the following year, I scored 16. But it was one special game. The first time I ever played on artificial turf. I went to West LA Junior College, and we played East LA. They were the first team to get artificial turf in Los Angeles. And as a kid, I always dreamed of playing on this stuff. And when I got out there, my teammate Charlie Collins was with me. I said, Charlie, man, I feel like I am unstoppable. I mean, I felt like I could not be stopped. And long story short, I scored 4 touchdowns off of 4 catches. And the reporter came up to me and said, my goodness, that was one of the best junior college performances I think I've ever seen. Do you mind if I write Stephen Baker, the touchdown maker? And I wasn't trying to be cocky or anything. It rhymed. And I went on to score 15 that year. And then the following year, 16.
Right.
And I had 31 touchdowns total. And at that time, it was tied with the national junior college record with O.J. Simpson. And that was and that was the only thing we had in common now, okay? He went to junior college for 1 year and scored all those rushing touchdowns in 1 year, but the record was 31, and I tied him. So that's how I got the nickname, and it stuck with me when I went to Fresno State, and and the Giants picked up on it, and the rest was history.
And your reputation at Fresno State, you were the long ball threat. I mean, you were a guy that was averaging around 26 yards a catch at Fresno State. You become a third-round pick of the Giants. You were that guy that was stretching the defense. That was your role, and getting the long ball. And that you did that so well, especially in that Super Bowl season, because this was a team, if for those who don't remember, this team ran the football a lot. Not the modern-day football that we're seeing today where everybody's throwing the ball and going crazy.
Exactly.
What the Giants were doing was, I look at it this way. You averaged about 130 yards a game rushing. Statistically, this past season in the NFL, only 7 teams did that. Ironically, 6 of them went to the playoffs. So it shows you do have to run the football and establish it, but you still have to have the ability to go downfield. And you were tied for, I think, most receptions by a wide receiver on that Giants Super Bowl team.
Actually, yeah, Mark Ingram had 36, I believe, and I had 34. And that's what I always share. Yeah, it was ratio like that. I always share that with these young kids when I'm playing them on Madden. They're like, wow, you guys, you only had this many touchdowns. You only caught this many passes. I was like, dude, we went to the Super Bowl. We didn't care about all of that. And I always tell them, imagine before the Super Bowl, if you told somebody like an Odell Beckham or Antonio Clown that at the end of the game, I want to have the longest rushing yards in NFL history, they would throw their hands up at the meeting, be like, what's going on? I ain't gonna get no touches. Mark Ingram and I did not care, man. We were so focused on winning a championship. We could care less if we caught a ball. But whenever they threw us the ball, we always made sure we made something happen.
Right.
And it was a great year. It was a lot of fun, even catching only 36 balls. And we averaged a lot of yards per catch. And like I said, whenever they threw us the ball, we're like, we may not get another one. Let's make something happen.
Yeah. I mean, come to think of it, that season, you were averaging around 20, 21 yards a catch. You definitely made it happen. When you got the ball, it was like, okay, something was going to happen if Baker got the ball. No question about it.
No, and thank you. And that's another thing, knowing your role on the team. That was my role. Parcells always told me, he's like, look, I'm going to need you on third down. We're going to flood one side. You're going to be the backside receiver. You got one-on-one coverage. You got to win. That was my role. I'm going to need you to make big plays for me, and that was my role. I wasn't a starter at the beginning of the year. Most people don't realize that because Parcells didn't really think that I could endure a 16-game season without getting injured.
So your size, Stephen, forgive me for interrupting, was that more because of your size?
Yes, I was 5'8", 158 pounds, but nobody could lay hands on me. You know what I mean? I could get off the line of scrimmage and make plays. And he said, just be ready and be ready when I need you. And sure enough, unfortunately, Odessa Turner got hurt. I think the third game of the season, I got my first start against the Redskins, and the rest was history. I went 80 yards that game, and I just always knew my role on the team and never, questioned it like these kids do today.
You make a great point about the roles that the team had for certain players, because you had a role. I think about Dave Meggett in his role on special teams and being that third down back in the offense. I think about an unsung hero on that defense. We know about LT, we know about Banks, but Emerson Walls had a great season that year in the defensive backfield, and it almost gets lost in the shuffle, but he had an important role as well. Everybody really played their part almost to perfection.
And I tell you, I love Everson Walls, man, because I was born in San Antonio, Texas, and raised in Los Angeles. I was a diehard Cowboy fan, man. So it was an honor to go up against him when he played for the Cowboys. And then when he came from the Cowgirls and came to us, and I got to work with him every day, man, I tell you, he is one of the funniest guys. And he calls me texts me like once a month and send me something funny. He's such a class.
That's great.
And we did that for him and Steve Diassi, Dave Jurison, Carew, Johnny Cooks, because we knew that was their last Super Bowl. And, you have that speech before the game, and the guys got up and talked, and, this is it for us guys. Da, da, da. And I tell you, we didn't know any better. I'm like, we're playing for the next man because we're coming back next year. That was our philosophy. We always played for the next man.
Right. No, it's a good philosophy. And again, we mentioned some really good players, and I'm glad you mentioned some other guys like Diassi and them. Just an incredible team from 1990. I mean, will there be anything potentially planned, if everything can go well, that we could see a reunion of the team 30 years later, maybe right around the Super Bowl?
I hope so, man. We did a 25-year reunion, and we all got our red jackets from Carl Banks. And I tell you, man, we had so much fun those 3 days, and
That's great.
I'm sure we definitely got to get something started because it is so good to see all those guys again. And just
Right.
one more point, you talk about a team effort. People always say, "What was the greatest game I played in?" Oddly enough, it had to be the championship game against the 49ers.
Mm.
And it was a grind. We didn't score a physical touchdown. But if you look at that game, you will see that everybody contributed just
Right.
about. You know what I'm saying? Special teams, Gary Reasons,
Mhm.
Ingram, Bavaro, everybody made plays, total team effort. And that's a game that I would show kids if I wanted to show them about being a team. Not one person
Yeah.
stood out in that game. We all made plays that were beneficial in there. And I look at that last drive when Eric Howard knocked the ball out and LT gets it. We line up. Mark Ingram looks at me and he say, "Bake, it's us, man. We got to make this happen." And what happens? Bavaro catches the first pass, I believe, or
Right.
Mark, and then the second pass Mark Ingram caught, and then I caught the third one. Then OJ ran it to the left, and then we kicked the field goal. I mean, it was a total team effort. That's why it's such a special moment, man.
That's great. And I look forward to hopefully seeing that reunion come to fruition. It would be a wonderful thing.
Thank
Stephen Baker, the touchdown maker, is joining me on the A game. We know the NFL draft is tomorrow. I mean, obviously, you still follow your Giants and what they're doing. Yeah. I mean, this is going to be a little unpredictable in my book because you've got a general manager who does not play it in a weird way by the rules. The year he's supposed to draft the quarterback, he drafts Saquon Barkley. The year he's supposed to draft an offensive lineman, he drafts Daniel Jones. Although every indication says you've got to get an offensive lineman, doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get an offensive lineman in the first round. But it would seem that's the obvious thing to fill right now. Would you agree?
Absolutely, man. And I hate to bring it back to video games, but I never played franchise mode until a couple days ago.
Okay.
And I drafted I went with Tyreek Hill first, and then I went for a quarterback. And my stepsons, they went and got offensive linemen first. And long story short, my first game, I lost 40-0 because I don't have an O-line or D-line. So if we have to, bro, it is not, I saw the two kids out there, those offensive tackles. We got to get somebody who's nasty at offensive tackle, man. That just, be nasty.
Yeah, there you go. And the top two that keep coming up is Jedrick Wills out of Alabama, Tristan Wirfs out of Iowa seem to be the two that are mentioned predominantly, and I don't think you would have a problem with either guy being taken number 4.
Absolutely not. And just get them nasty, man. Like I told Hernandez when he came here, Parcells used to tell our offensive linemen, pardon my language, I'm not going to be real, but he said, where in the hell in the rule book does it say you guys have to be nice guys?
There you go.
Right? That's why I won't play an offensive tackle for me, man. Give me a penalty here or there, but just have a little nastiness in you. Just, that always irked me that defensive linemen feel like they can just be the badasses on the team. Give me an offensive lineman that thinks just like that. What was the guy's name that played for the Cardinals that was a dirty player? Back when Otis Anderson played. Oh my goodness.
Now you got me thinking.
It'll come to me. Right. He was Conrad Dobler.
Conrad Dobler. Oh my God. Yeah. He led the league in penalties like 3 straight years.
Hey, but not to that level, but I want that type of mentality over there.
Right.
We need some type of test where you can find psych tests. We can find that type of guy. But I think
but the other thing that comes to mind when I look at this Giants team, and you being a wide receiver, you've seen the wide receiver core. There seems to be one key element missing in that receiver core. I don't see, other than Golden Tate, that deep ball threat. And that's what I'm thinking. In a deep wide receiver draft, should the Giants be targeting maybe at least by the 3rd round, somebody who can go and has like the 4.4 speed that can go down the field and stretch the field and maybe make a contribution like you did in the past?
No, there's no doubt we have to, but I just harp back. We need to take care of that O-line first, man. Else he won't have time to get to him. But I would agree. Maybe 3 or 4. We definitely could get another speed guy, and that's no slight against Slayton. Slayton played very well.
Right, he did.
Yeah, he made a lot of plays. But I know what you're saying. We need that one burner who can just threaten and stretch the field. That would make such wonders for Barkley. You have no idea.
Well, that's the thing. The more I look at Saquon, if everything goes right, this is a guy who will put 1,500 yards rushing and potentially another 1,000 yards receiving if all the ingredients are there. And like you said, getting that nasty offensive lineman is the first step to getting it. Then maybe getting another receiver that stretches the field. Saquon could go crazy. If everything is right, he could be an MVP. Would you agree?
I absolutely agree with you. And I'm not saying that because I'm a Giants fan, but
No, and
it's
I'm not
there.
saying
Yeah, and you're a
exactly.
Jets fan, and you're saying
Yeah.
you can see it if we just get some offensive linemen that can be a little bit nasty
Mhm.
and make plays. And and to say that too, also we need some defensive people too now, because what irks
Right.
me a little bit about the defense is I can't really just name players. Back in the day, you could say LT, you could
Yes.
say Leonard
Yeah. Very
Marshall.
good point.
I can't name them, and I don't
No.
like that.
And they've gone through a lot of changes. I mean, it seems like at least a couple of the past drafts, it's like, okay, it didn't work out. It didn't work out. That's why I'm looking at this draft and saying, if you're going, let's say, the second round to get a defensive back, there's a couple of guys out of LSU that do stand out in that second round. Fulton and Daylett could be guys that wind up on the Giants.
Hmm.
But it's important to get that pick right because they've tried the last couple of years. I hate to bring up Eli Apple, but it didn't work out.
I know.
It didn't work. No.
No, I agree. And he
Yeah.
went up with the Saints, and I
Saints,
guess
yeah.
it fits into their system a little bit better. But yeah, we got to do a better job in our process and picking the right defensive backs. And
Right.
I don't know what the formula is for that.
Yeah, it's hard to figure.
Yeah.
You are somebody, being that you still follow Fresno State, you're probably one of the few guys that maybe can shed some insight on one of the quarterbacks in this draft, because I am curious about Jordan Love out of Utah State. Did you see him play at all against Fresno State in the last couple of years? And if you have, what do you think of him?
You know what? I caught one game and I saw it, and I thought he was okay. I mean, of course he's a dog. I'm a root for him.
Right,
But
exactly.
yeah, I don't know if he's going to be a first rounder though. You know what I mean?
Interesting. Yeah,
But
it seems like everybody's either they have him somewhere in the mid-first round or dropping all the way to the mid-second round. He's a hard guy to figure out, but again, coming out of that conference, Mountain West,
yeah,
it could go either. From watching Mountain West football, we've seen some players come out and do really well, and then some that, again, almost like if you're reaching too high for the talent, is where all of a sudden the pressure comes in. So in a weird way, does Jordan Love benefit from going maybe late first, early second, where all of a sudden it's like, hey, you know what? There's no pressure on him. He could sit for a year or two and develop into maybe becoming that franchise quarterback.
yeah. And you know what, Rob? I really think there's a little too much emphasis based on where you go in the draft. You know what I mean? Just once you get to I'm gonna be honest with you. When I got drafted, I didn't care what round I went in. If I was going to be a free agent, I looked at guys like Everson Walls. He made it, and all I wanted was an opportunity. You know what I mean? Just give me an opportunity, and I'm going to show you what I can do. These kids today, some of them, not all of them, they get too caught up in, like, you saw some of the looks on some of these guys' faces when they're not drafted, when they think they should be drafted. They can't hide it. They're sitting at the table. You see them with their heads down and all that stuff.
Yeah.
You get the guy from, what's the kid from UCLA? He got up there talking about, I'm going to make the other teams pay for it. I mean, dude.
Josh Rosen you're talking about. Yes, I know what you're saying. Yeah.
An idiotic statement to me. I'm like, why would you want somebody like that to lead your franchise in the first place? I want somebody keeps their mouth shut, come in hungry, and just show me what you can do, because it's not supposed to be given to you.
Well, to defend your point even further, look at what's happened with Rosen. He gets drafted by one team, is traded right away by the Arizona Cardinals to the Miami Dolphins. Dolphins actually give him a chance for 3 games, and he still can't beat Ryan Fitzpatrick for the starting job. So it does raise that interesting question of, if you come in with that attitude and you don't deliver, it almost becomes 100 times worse for you, because reputation in the league is going to be like, okay, you did all this talking, but you never backed it up.
Yeah, and I saw the one game. I happened to catch it live when he was at UCLA, that remarkable comeback.
Yeah.
But you can't base it on one game. And I'll be honest with you, what kind of turned me off against him too is, and maybe it's because I'm old school, when these kids have a chance to play in the bowl game and they forfeit it because they don't want to risk getting injured, I get that part too. However, I wouldn't have done that, because I know that offensive lineman or that defensive tackle or that third string quarterback or lineman or DB, this is their last game. You're going to go on to bigger and better things. You don't want to send them out with a victory, man. And I get it. A lot of money's at stake and all that, but whatever happened to being a gladiator, bro?
Yeah, I hear you.
You get hurt. All right. That's just the way it went. You know what I'm saying? I don't like that.
Yeah. And when it all comes down to it, it goes back to something you said before. It's about being a good teammate, about being, somebody you can say, hey, look, it's not about the glory in a sense. And I know the money's a lot more these days, but all in all, and this is where I say to my producer, give the photo with the Super Bowl trophy, because I want to show this off for a second. And this, I got to thank you for this because this is about as close as I'm ever going to come to it. And I thank you. That was very cool. And that's another thing. You show a lot of appreciation for not only having lived it, but also showing and telling stories. Because I saw you in an appearance this about 3 years ago, and you were so beaming about just interacting with people and just getting the message like you're doing today. I mean, there's just joy coming out of your voice. You love to seem to teach people, educate people, but also, hey, look, you want to know the story? Here it is. Thank you so much for showing some interest.
No, thank you, Robin. It all stems from this was always a dream of mine, man. Ever since I was in junior high,
right?
I made it to the NFL. I said, whatever team picked me, how cool is that to be a fan of a team that you played for, man?
There you go.
And I would never lose that. And I tell you, I reach a lot of kids by doing the Madden streaming.
Mm-hmm.
I'm playing people, and they're like, "No way, you play for the Giants." I tell them, "Go look at the tribute video on YouTube." And I got to tell you, I had over 3,000 people view my last stream because I was answering questions 90% of the time. I lose the game because I'm talking. They're asking so many questions, and I enjoy it, man. Because these young kids, some of them don't know. They don't know what it was like to play in NFL, and they can't believe that I'm streaming. First of all. And I bring the trophy on, and I do have a little skills too. I don't get just dogged.
Yeah, speaking of this gaming thing, how did you get hooked on all this? Because I see your post on Facebook. It is more than just Madden. You're into a lot of different of these games. What's the hobby at this point?
Yeah, it's always been a hobby, believe it or not. And it stems back from my childhood. I grew up in South Central Los Angeles, so it wasn't like the best neighborhood. So my mom always bought my brother and I the best gaming system money could buy to keep us in the house.
Wow. Okay.
So when everybody else was playing Pong, you remember Pong?
Yeah. 2 lines and a dot. Exactly.
Thank you. We had Intellivision, which was a
that was the step above at that point. You're right.
Exactly. The little football man running like that. So long story short, ever since then, man, I've always been a gamer. And I once saw the movie Lawnmower Man and Hackers, and they had scenes in there when they had virtual reality.
Yes.
And I said, my God, if they ever come up with that, man, I'm never leaving the house. Lo and behold, it's about 3 years old, my system here. So I have virtual reality headset.
I did see one of your videos. You were actually doing virtual boxing, as a matter of fact. I saw you doing.
Let me tell you, that boxing is not fun. I called Larry Holmes. Yeah, I called Larry Holmes and told him, dude, I don't know how you did this because the guy is, when you have virtual reality, they actually life size in front of you.
Yes,
and you're punching this thing, and I'm not even lying. I had it set for 2-minute rounds. 3 minutes or 3 rounds. My arms were done because you're punching this thing, and I have to be careful because I could punch a wall and you trying to duck and dodge. And it's a great workout, but it's not fun. I said boxing is not fun, and I've always heard that you don't play boxing, and this thing ain't hitting me back. You don't feel the actual punches.
Right?
I can't even imagine.
Be thankful,
Exactly.
And maybe your weight class, you're probably talking to something. Yeah, imagine being hit by Floyd Mayweather there.
No, it's not fun. Boxing is not fun, but it's a great workout. I will tell you that. And to be able to do the mixed reality and show people, they're like, man, how do you do that? And it's basically just a green screen. You see behind me here, I usually have my green screen set up behind me, have it lit properly. And then the mixed reality comes from the virtual camera that I downloaded this software that does all of that magic work. It took me a while to figure it out, but once you learn how to do it like anything, it becomes second nature, and the end result is just incredible to me. I still get a kick out of seeing it because I'm like, wow, that looks so cool.
Hey, tell you something. It's a fun hobby. It sounds like it's been a blast, man. Hey, Stephen Baker is here on the A Game. Okay, well, what I do toward the end of my thing is we do a thing called Random Shots. A couple of random questions that kind of play to your personality or to your past in this case. Okay. All right. So I've already said I love your nickname as far as the touchdown maker. But in your mind, outside of your nickname, who had the best nickname in the NFL?
Wow. Oh, man, I love the human joystick. X-Man. That was the coolest. I was a fan of his too, man. I'm gonna tell you, man. For the Chiefs, oh God, well, what was his name? I'm drawing.
I'm drawing a blank, but I know the human joystick. I can picture him. Dante. There you go.
Oh boy, he was a beast, man. And so yeah, I like that, the human joystick.
There you go. We talked about Otis Anderson earlier. He's one of only 31 players that's ever eclipsed 10,000 yards rushing. Is he a Hall of Famer in your mind?
Absolutely, man. Of course. And, I would say if go to YouTube, a good friend of mine named Jim made tribute videos to just about everybody on the 86 and 90 team. He said he has about 14 more to go, but they made a tribute. He just did one for Otis Anderson last week. And
oh, wow.
Yeah, go check it out and you will see what he did. And when he was with the Cardinals was impressive, man, for those 2 years.
True.
Yes. And he definitely, come on, 2 Super Bowls. Okay. And 1 MVP. There are a lot of guys in there with less.
And I'll take it one step further to defend your point. 6 times 1,000 yards or more in his career. I mean, to do it once is impressive. Do it 6 times. Yeah. That's why I'm glad you said yes. Because, I mean, in my book, it's also a yes. Based on everything you just said, too. You win an MVP, you won a Super Bowl, and yet you're not in the Hall of Fame. That one, sorry, I'm going to question that for sure. One of your obsessions that I've noticed on Facebook, if they throw the photo of him on a plane, I believe, is he sitting in the cockpit?
Who is that?
You, I believe. If my engineer has got the photo ready, it's
I think on my Facebook page.
There it is. There it is.
Well, if you see behind me, you see I have remote control helicopters behind me. I've always been intrigued with flight, and I build them. And I actually met those guys. My custodian at the school I worked at, he set that up, and I could not believe it. We saw it coming in and everything. She landed right there in front of us, and they let me sit in it. I was like a kid in a candy store, man. I asked them if I could fly it, and they went, hell no. That tickled me to death.
Stephen, we love you. We were Giants fan, but you're not flying the plane.
No, hell no. They said hell no. It was a great time though. But I have flown in a Black Hawk helicopter before.
What was that? What's that experience like?
It was incredible, man. I was in Somalia a couple weeks after Black Hawk Down, the real story, when the unfortunately that soldier got drugged through the town. Right. So it was during the Super Bowl. They asked 2 guys to go there and watch the Super Bowl with the troops. Myself and David Fulcher from the Cincinnati Bengals, we had the same agent, and they recommended us, and we went over, man. We got lost. We were 6 hours away from base and got lost. So we finally found the base 6 hours later, and we're like, man, we got to go back, drive 6 hours. Can we go back in that? And the guy said, let me ask my colonel. And the colonel said yes. And man, we hopped in that Black Hawk and took off. It was like a roller coaster ride.
Oh, wow. Good stuff. There's one other photo that I found, and this bed. I don't know where you found this, but are you this much obsessed of a gamer that you would want a bed like this in your place? I mean, look at this thing. This thing is stripped out. This is beyond stripped out. I mean, what in the hell?
I'm telling you, the only thing you don't see on there is a relief port, huh?
Oh my God! Yes, you're right. Okay,
maybe that big pillow's covering it up.
Yeah, maybe. Oh man.
But I saw that, man, and I'm like, you know what? With this pandemic that's going on, and we're locked down, that would be a great option. That'd be a great option.
And I know we're locked down, and it's a shame because, being in Jersey, like you're around Jersey, you've made some appearances around the area. And when you do, I've always noticed you bring the number 85 jersey with you. So hopefully when you come out again, I will have to get a number 85 from you. Plus, the cool thing about his jersey, if you've never seen it, he does put the touchdown maker on that 85 jersey when he has it available. Absolutely. And I know you did River Rock in the past down in Brick. You've made appearances throughout New Jersey, throughout the tri-state area. And I got to admit, it's probably been a bit of a difficult transition for you because you were making a lot of appearances. So to slow this down, I mean, you've got to be looking forward to that time when you can go, yeah, it'd be nice to get out again and see people and also make those appearances.
Play some golf too, man. I never forget golf.
Hold it. All right, you and I, that's it. Monmouth County Park System, we're getting around it somewhere. Hominy Hill or Sharp River, we're going.
Hey, let's do it, man. I'm Stephen Baker, the birdie maker. Let's go.
Oh, it's on. It's on like Donkey Kong now. Perfect way to go out. Stephen Baker, number 85, the touchdown maker of the legendary New York Giants. Thank you so much for giving us the time and bringing your A game. Had a lot of fun with you, man.
Thank you, Rob. I had a great time,
too. Thanks a lot.
Peace out.
Peace out.
All right.